Huh. guys. Absolutely huge W. Meanwhile, this guy was literally in jail for January 6th.
Alright, here we go.
Democrats literally put this guy in prison for 2 months and required him to be federally
Bing, we're
supervised
ready to
behavior.
go.
And Donald Trump pardoned him. Well, what is happening, guys? What are we doing? So, meanwhile, it's worth pointing out this Tucker Carlson tweet. So, this was a tweet he made 9 months ago, when we struck their nuclear sites the first time, saying, it's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East, and the cost of the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism in the United States oil may even be higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set up a war, and it'll be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you. 108,000 likes, 9 million views. This never fucking happened. This never happened, right? And for those of you unaware, we did not lose tens of thousands of soldiers, thank God. There isn't World War III going on, and prices aren't infinitely higher. But it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, the reason why I know something happened to this guy in between, this was Tucker Carlson a decade ago.
The lone voice in saying this, I think Iran deserves to be annihilated. I think they're lunatics. I think they're evil. Tucker, aren't we the only...
Are we being serious here for a second?
country allowed to make preemptive strikes? Who the hell does Iran think it is?
Actually, I know you're sort of kidding, but I agree with that. I think we are the only...
No, I'm not kidding at all.
Rather, we are. That's absolutely right. The only country with moral authority sufficient to do that. The only country that doesn't seek hegemony in the world. The lone voice in saying
So
this.
what are we doing here, guys? Well, what happened to this guy? What absolutely happened to this guy? Now, my guy here, Steven Crowder, who's been absolutely fucking incredible lately. This dude's awesome. All right, watching all the snakes and the liars go mask off for cheap Pakistani views and third world clicks on their videos, and Steven Crowder has not faltered. So Steven Crowder went up to Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is screaming out, Trump betrayed Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. He betrayed them. All right, and we got Steven Crowder here to set the record straight.
Are you comfortable with that kind of language from the President of the United States, from the guy sitting in the Oval Office, publicly?
Well, which part of it? Which part of it? If we're talking naughty words, I don't care. I didn't elect Donald Trump because I thought he was a pastor. I didn't vote for him because I think even necessarily that he's a devout Christian. I thought it was trolling. I actually laughed pretty hard at the praise be to Allah. I do think it was ill-advised to say whole civilization. And the reason why is because you see a lot of people, and this is again about applying it equally. Donald Trump has done a pretty good job, and certainly Marco Rubio, in delineating between the Iranian people and the regime. I think we probably agree there are very few governments, if any, that are in more diametric opposition to the people they govern than the IRGC and the Iranian people. I mean, we don't get very accurate polling out of there, as you tend to not get out of the Islamic world. The overwhelming majority of the Iranian people support the help, support the military intervention. Doesn't mean that it's our job, to be clear. That's a conversation to have stateside, domestically. But separating between the regime and the people is important. Donald Trump has done that consistently. He didn't do that with his phrase here. I definitely think that did him no favors. On the flip side, when I see people...
Although, he did end his tweet with God bless the Iranian people, by the way. So I do think that is a delineation. But anyway.
Saying World War III, and I see people saying, he's killing innocent civilians. We're bombing brown people. We're killing Iranians. I go, well, hold on a second. You guys never delineate between the IRGC and the Iranian people. I also think that it's undergirded by the fact that it's remarkably inconsistent and ill-advised. He did say, God bless the Iranian people in that same post, which would seem to clarify and be consistent with what he just said 12 hours earlier. Right? People were offended. Keep in mind, 12 hours earlier, they said, do you think this is a war crime? And I think it's no, because they're animals and they killed 40. The number always goes up. Maybe 60, maybe 120,000 of their old people. Wow, they're animals. People say, I can't believe he would say that. But he did say, no, targeting military sites, targeting strategic infrastructure to do away with a totalitarian and I would argue evil, satanic regime, the IRGC, is not a war crime because the people want it and support it.
But where does it fit with, Trump, obviously the campaigner in 2024 was absolutely emphatic. I will not drag America into any more senseless wars, particularly in the Middle East.
Why is this a senseless war? We're out there for 38 fucking days obliterating terrorists that have been trying to kill us for 47 years that have killed tens of thousands of Americans. or rather thousands of Americans, tens of thousands of their own people.
And here he is, dragging America into the biggest Middle Eastern war he could possibly drag them into.
I'm sorry, we don't have a single soldier on the ground. Right? We're in Afghanistan for how long were we in Afghanistan? 20 years? Iraq for 80 years? Like, are we even being serious?
Tucker Carlson has been blistering in his attack on it.
Oh, Tucker Carlson's angry.
Megyn Kelly has been blistering. You've got all these people.
Yeah, retards. The retards are upset.
All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's a real split on the conservative right in America. And it's really bubbled up and boiled over with the Iran
this
war.
one.
Why do you think that is? Why, I mean, if you go back 20, 30 years...
I hope now. What day is it? Saturday?
Republican strike.
I'm going to have to get another.
It wouldn't have been, there'd have been no split. But there's a real split here, ideologically.
Another
between
place to
people
launder
believe
money.
They thought they were voting for and what they think they're getting from Trump.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's as big of a split with the voter as there are commentators. For example,
Oh, this is only take a minute.
Doesn't care how many Pakistani view bots are watching their videos.
has been, I supported the strike on the enrichment facility, and I said, give this 3 months, and then I'll have to reassess it, because I know there's information that I cannot have on Iran as it pertains to national security. I would say that would be due largely to their own ignorance, because anyone who thinks that Donald Trump has been anything other than consistent, going back to the 1980s, which is kind of a marvel, the only reason we're
40 years of him saying that Iran get out of a nuclear weapon.
able to have this long of a consistent track record for any president is because he was a celebrity. He's always said Iran cannot have a nuke. They will never have a nuke. That was what he said that day of that famous escalator ride. It was part and parcel of that speech. So anyone who thinks that Donald Trump being tough on Iran is a betrayal is simply uneducated and didn't listen to him. And you could also argue, and I think there are two reasonable sides on this issue. I don't think war criminal. I don't think genocide is one of them. You could argue that he's ending a 47-year war, and it's right in line with his promises. When I hear people say, why would we strike Iran? They've never done anything to us. You hear that a lot. Many Americans.
Tucker Carlson says that basically.
Hundreds, if not over 1,000, depending on the numbers, and they've pledged to kill many more. It comes down to that discussion and when you want to deal with this issue.
And in my opinion, the reality is, even if this wasn't going to be some sort of imminent threat, this was going to be an inevitable threat. If left to their own devices, they would become a threat that would do their best to destroy us. And the reality is, if you pay attention to the actual polling, to the actual American people, not what the dumb fuck, retarded, paid-off commentators have to say.
As for, you know, the aspirations, Americans broadly support them. 87% say straight up Hormuz needs to be reopened. 81% want to ensure freedom for the Iranian people. So
that's wild to me. 81% of Americans want freedom for the Iranian people and want our involvement in their freedom.
26% want to permanently stop Iran's nuclear program. 55% want the current leaders ousted before we end the war.
That's huge, by the way. That's absolutely massive. All right, so you cannot let the retards, the absolute retard loud shout about this. All right, oh my God, Trump's immoral and reckless war in Iran has shot up gas prices in my district to nearly $6 a gallon.
It used to be $4 something before the illegal, immoral war in Iran.
It wasn't illegal, it also wasn't immoral, and you are a foreigner dictating our foreign policy. And it's tiring watching these retards. You know, and this is him crying. As you can see, this did not go over very well. 3,000 likes, 6,000 comments. Like, this did not go well, and the reality is, it's because this is 2023. It was $8 in 2023. It's $6 now in middle of a war against this existential threat to the United States. The reason why gas is this high is because there are infinite retard woke taxes in California. All right, that's why it's high. The left doesn't care about gas prices. The left cares about power. And the moral war, and because of Trump's incredibly funny, wholesome, and awesome execution of retard terrorists, which is epic, by the way, because killing terrorists is fucking awesome. You would know, if you were an American, you would also support killing terrorists, but you're clearly not an American. So you clearly do not like this idea of killing terrorists, which makes me dislike you a little bit. But yeah, killing terrorists, awesome actually. Grow a pair.
Let me run into here. Oh, son of a bitch. I need to order some supplies. Hey, Danny boy. Can you send me like, I don't know, send me like 30? Cool. Solid. I'm not sure what the delivery is. Oh. I gotta see what that. I didn't look at what it sells for. Is this it? Pink crystal shard, $276 per unit. Wow. That is the rinky dink right there. I should make more of that stuff, man. Anywho, let's get this packaged up on the streets, man. I'm gonna let you guys work a minute. First things first, we're gonna run over here, clean these losers' graffitis off my turf. Hey, how you doing, girl? Got some dough for me? Bitch better have my money. Alright, here. I'm gonna give you this good stuff here, man. Dudes are gonna go nuts for that. Give me your death cake, I'll give you a little more. There you go. Hey, you up, Home Slice? $9 grand, not bad, huh? You probably need some product, huh? Oh yeah, you do. Boom. And here, sell some of this meth, man. Alright, we're gonna... Yeah, we still got a good supply in here. Nope. What is it, Sunday? Yep, tomorrow I get the deposit money. And then we gotta buy a new place to launder more dough. Because I am not making money fast enough. Well, I'm not getting it into the bank fast enough. Here we go. Zoop. Pow. Alright. Got me a nice, cool 2Gs. Got those guys working on making some drugs. Any potential customers? There's a guy. He just went into, looks like the bank. That's a potential dealer. Go find out what that Greg Figgle guy. Who are you? Bust a cap in his ass. Dude, these guys are selling basic stuff, man. I got these Benzies. I'm gonna run these clowns out of town, man. Can you work for me yet? Huh? No? Alright, well, never mind. Just gonna leave that scrub laying there. Where am I? I'm standing there. Lisa Gardner coming down the street, huh? Let's go chat with her. I don't see her. Where'd she go? She slip into a building or something? She just straight up vanished. How the hell does that work? Moved over by the realtors. Hey, what up, G? Want a free sample? How about a free sample? Maybe? How you doing, old man? I'd like to purchase something. What we got? What is this? A jukebox. A safe. A gold toilet. That crazy chick with the face tattoos. Cool, she just bought a fat stack of blow. Man, you look like you could use a free sample, man. You look stressed out, man. You look even more stressed out. Sorry about that. Did whack a Benzie dealer though. Huh? Alright, well I'm gonna put up the good stuff right here, and then we'll just do these two. We'll make some more of that crazy mess. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop. Alright. Now I'm not gonna order more shit yet, because I'm just gonna go to sleep because I want to get a place to launder money tomorrow. I gotta launder more than $2,000 a day. Pop in.
Now, it's not easy keeping foreigners out, it seems, but Donald Trump is making a pretty good work about it.
An Examiner reporting new DHS data show last month zero illegal immigrants released into the United States after being caught at the border.
This is what we call a colossal absolute W. We did not need new policy. We needed a new president, you know, specifically a president that wasn't absolutely trying his absolute best to flood our country with the third world, to dilute our people, and to steal elections.
Now that is down dramatically. Well, of course it would be. From 78,000 released into our nation in March of 2024 under President Biden.
Now this is very good. Trump is doing a lot of good. I want to make this clear. You know, caveat, Trump is doing good on this regard. But I would really like, if he was the fucking fascist dictator that the left thought he was over here, I'm not gonna lie, I would load these motherfuckers.
Goddamn gunshots.
And launch them across the border. Literally, we gotta get rid of all the illegals. Like, what are we even doing? That's not even up for debate. We gotta figure out how to denaturalize and deport a lot of these other retards. But the illegals? Oh my god, we gotta get rid of these motherfuckers immediately. Now, the crazy update, and this is a pretty crazy update, is we have a lot of foreigner-related issues in our country that we deal with on a daily basis. So it all starts with this dumb fuck. In my opinion, this guy's the poster boy for why we can't have illegal immigration, because the illegals come in and then they vote for their own little elected leaders and they fuck up our country. Right? So this is Mamdani capitulating, and his own audience is super mad at him for this. His own voters fucking hate him for this one. He's basically admitting, you know how I ran literally on free buses for everybody and all the retards voted for me and I got the retard vote because they all thought socialism means free things for everybody? Well, we can't actually do free things.
Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York.
Right, pretty good stuff. Pretty awesome, pretty epic. Cool rap.
He's a good cheerleader.
Yeah, no, don't. Mamdani admits there will not be free buses this year after spending months campaigning on it. Well, you know, it's classic. No one is surprised about this per se, except for the retards that voted for him. All those guys are like, what? You mean communism doesn't give me infinite free things? That's crazy. So, anywho, it gets so much worse. Now, Mamdani is actually starting to really piss people off. You know, normally the mayor just kind of does his thing and it doesn't really affect your daily life. But Zoran Mamdani is signing emergency orders banning Americans from celebrating July 4th. What? We bring in a Ugandan retard, a Ugandan Muslim retard. He runs on communism to get the vote from all the fucking morons and criminals. Right? He wants to abolish prisons. He wants free shit for everybody. All the immigrants vote for him because we can bring in more immigrants. All right, actual citywide celebrations for Ramadan. All right, let's be honest here. And this isn't banning Americans from July 4th.
Times Square, a ball drop is planned to celebrate America's 250th birthday. But thanks to Mayor Mamdani's emergency order denying permits during the World Cup, the public isn't invited to attend.
Isn't that awesome?
So our famous communists won't allow people to come up.
Oh my God! I gotta wait for this bitch to move.
The U.S. He needs to go.
Is this America? Is this really New York? Where we at?
I think that's really sad.
Yeah, I think that's very silly.
Oh. You'd imagine it should be allowed.
It's something we're celebrating, right? So it's supposed to be open for people to come in.
New Year's Eve. Everybody's out here allowed to be here, so why can't it be then?
We have to.
Fantastic question. You mean during Ramadan you're able to close down all of New York City, but for July 4th you have to start banning Americans?
Like, live our lives. Can't be afraid. I should probably articulate that I'm a Canadian. That would never happen in Canada.
Canada is owned by Indians and Muslims. I'm not even trying to be racist to those guys. Canada just opened their borders and said, please rape us. Like, are we being serious?
The public should be allowed to go.
I think that should be something that everybody should be included on. I mean, that's a big milestone in our nation's history. Kind of frustrating because
yeah, but you guys elected someone who hates your nation. That's the issue. That's the issue. You mean to tell me that the Muslim communist hates capitalist...
Fit 2 more shelves in here.
Yes. Yes.
I was kind of excited to come down here for that.
One more mixer would probably be better.
It's ridiculous. Absurd.
Yeah, I can get one more mixer in here.
Anyway, that's Islamophobic.
What time is it?
So yeah, anyway, so that's New York now. That's just life in New
Fucking
York.
10 o'clock in the morning.
That hate your country and hate your culture. And that's
Oh, but I
New
forgot
York.
I could deposit shit.
I'm no longer New York. I moved out years ago. Now there was a stabbing that just happened in New York.
Let me
left at the scene. Well, apparently multiple people
progress
were
my
stabbed.
meth.
Honestly, horrifying situation at Grand Central Terminal. Zoran Mamdani releases a statement basically saying, bad, killing people, bad. Stabbing people, not very good. And he doesn't give any details, of course. He doesn't have anything to say. We all know who it was. They're hiding the name. They're hiding the identity. We know. Look at the knife. We know. We've seen England. We've seen what happens in England. We know what happens. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, the knife class is a specialty for specific sects of terrorism. Don't want to be racist or Islamophobic or anything, but you know what? We can play our favorite game. Who's that terrorist? Was it A transgender, B, a Muslim? It was a Muslim. That's my bad. I'll put it all on Muslim. Anyway, moving on. That was just a little nice, fun little bit of racism for you guys. But don't worry, because apparently it gets even worse. This is Sneeko.
All right.
Is a streamer and complete, utter fucking retard extraordinaire. This is him walking through New York City.
I have a collab on Tuesday. I'm supposed to do. It was good. Yeah.
This is him with his fellow Americans because he's a based right-wing red pill guy that all the based right-wing people like. You know what that means? Any Arabic speakers in chat? Khaybar, ya Yahud? That's execute the Jews, like they did, like Mohammed did in Khaybar, where he went and executed and beheaded all the Jews. Khaybar, ya Yahud means go out there and execute Jews.
Hi, Irene.
Decapitation. That's what we're shouting in New York City right now. Pretty awesome.
I am interested in purchasing a business. I am interested in purchasing the post office.
Now,
Why, yes, I am interested in it. Thank you very much, sir. I will be on my way.
Different inflation, all sorts of things. We have to blame Trump for higher prices.
Run over here.
Of course, obviously, it's Trump's fault that things are higher now. Unlike Biden, who totally.
Do you like how I act nonchalant? Not suspicious at all?
Part naturally occurring due to supply chain bottlenecks because the COVID once in a lifetime pandemic occurred. And yes, it occurred. Okay, so because of supply chain bottlenecks, that's what I'm talking about. There was
under Biden, it's not his fault because it was natural. It was natural inflation. As opposed to under Trump, where it's unnatural inflation. Now, the U.S. let in 4,499 refugees since October. All but 3 were South African. White South Africans that have been getting seemingly genocided by the black population in South Africa. Those are all of the refugees, except for 3. Those are all the refugees let in under Trump's term.
Oh, wait.
My God. Trump's policy is fucking insane. Holy shit. Oh my God, it's working, bro. All the refugees that were let in were not third worlders. This is crazy. It's not like we let in
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Syrians. Oh my God. Now, if you look at the actual asylum grant rates throughout the years, right? So Obama was pretty
hey,
high, and under Trump,
how you doing?
Lower, and then under Biden, it got fucking high.
Want to buy something?
Basically fallen to almost nothing.
Never mind. Yeah, get out of here, because this isn't even a real business. This is just a front for a drug cartel. Ba 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 ba.
Milking cow for the entire world. I'm sorry if your life is shitty in Afghanistan. There are 56 other Muslim majority countries you can move to. 58 if you include England and France. And we don't need to be your little homecoming. You don't need to come here. You don't need to come here. I'm sorry. It's not actually my thing. I'm really glad that we're actually starting to look into it seriously to put actual politicians in jail. Because politicians are enabling the unbelievable rape and torture of our people.
Holy shit, you're a weed-growing motherfucker. I'll tell you that right now, dude.
With that hammer. Excuse me, what?
Right. 13,000 homicides from illegal aliens as of 2024. 13,000 homicides, Liz. This is an absolute and total slaughter of our people, and it's time that we start charging the people in politics and in government and in the Biden administration that decided on these policies. The blood is on their hand. This Haitian did not belong in America, should not be here, should have never been here with a hammer, should have never been able to slaughter that woman. That happened in my state. That happened in Florida. I have a family here in Florida. I'm raising my 4 kids here in Florida. It very well could have been my family, my children, my...
I'm so happy this is becoming like the actual public sentiment. I've been saying this the entire time. A politician that lets this guy into the country illegally, refuses to deport him, and he murders someone, charge that motherfucker for accessory to murder. Judge decides to release a repeat offender criminal a bajillion times from jail and he murders somebody, charge that judge for accessory to murder. All right, you let the politicians keep turning a blind eye to fraud, charge them for accessory to this fraud. Like, we have to start holding these people that make the decisions to rape our country and our people accountable, or else they're just going to keep doing it.
My wife or me. And you know what? Many Americans have to wake up every single day with that fear. It's time for us to look at legal liability. In a righteous country, we would have legal liability for the Biden administration who decided to simply loose open the borders to the third world to take the prisoners, rapists, murderers, and some of the worst deviants of society and loose them upon our civilization.
We got news
human rights violation.
It is human rights abuses, yeah. And it's a violation of their oath to protect and defend American citizens.
Oh, I hate caps lock.
And I'm really glad that people are actually finally taking this seriously. People are actually really addressing this the way they should. This is a crime against humanity, and it's treasonous to our country. And yes, these people should be held accountable. This is an illegal alien from Nicaragua. Sorry, my bad. The last one was an illegal alien from Haiti. All right, so this is the Mayor Brandon Johnson from Chicago getting asked about a Nicaraguan illegal alien that murdered somebody.
The Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And And sadly,
Put my gun up for a sec.
Let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer. Thank you. Thanks, Wes.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Nothing to say here. Let's move on. And this is just what we're dealing with. So I think politicians like that need to start going to jail. All right, because they are enabling this so that their woke little bullshit can happen. A mass stabbing event took place overnight in downtown Raleigh, NC. At least 6 people have been hospitalized with stab wounds. Pray for victims. And this is just unbelievable, man. And it's always North Carolina, dude. North Carolina's a shithole these days. There's so much, let's say, rowdy folk of nebulous ethnic background. So, Palestinian student Mahmoud Talil loses deportation case. All right, student. This is a 35-year-old student. All right, student, because he has some sort of fucking visa that makes him impervious to any form of penalty of anything. This dude is in our country chanting pro-Islamic shit all the time, organizing all these radical Islamic rallies. They're attacking students on college campuses. He literally wrote an article in his little school paper talking about how he wants to end Western civilization. But he has a visa, and he's here, and this dude's been going through the ringer every single day. He has a new court case for something, and finally, he lost. And it looks like we're actually going to be able to finally get rid of this guy.
I just saw a crazy story I have to talk about. A woman working at Wells Fargo died at her desk, and her body wasn't discovered for 4 days, despite co-workers...
I don't understand how I ended up with only 21 of these.
It's not like she went to some condemned building
That doesn't make
all
sense.
alone like Squidward when he goes to
They just
that
packed
void
40
place.
of them.
Like, she was in an occupied space, working, surrounded by other people, and nobody noticed that she had passed away. Until her body started to rot and decay, and they started to smell it, and then someone became alerted and realized, gee willikers, we have a corpse here. That is baffling to me. Like, this is the perfect illustration for how little these companies care about their workers. Like, they are not your friends. They do not give a fuck about you.
A Tempe Wells Fargo employee died at her desk. And 12 News is now confirming that it may have taken as many as 4 days for anyone in the office to notice.
That's so sad. Now, according to workers, she was in an underpopulated area of the office because a lot of workers for Wells Fargo work remote, but there still were co-workers there as well as 24/7 security, and I imagine there were other higher level, like, Wells Fargo executives that have to be in the building at least once or twice over the course of 4 days, you would think. To, like,
Oh, I wanted to run to the...
and nobody found her. Because I imagine they treat employees just like faceless cogs in the machine and not human beings.
A Wells Fargo employee went to work the morning of Friday, August 16th and never went home. Tempe police tell 12 News 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme scanned into work at 7 o'clock in the morning. 4 days later, police responded to the office building near Washington Street and Priest Drive for reports of a subject down. Prudhomme was declared dead. The Tempe Police Criminal Investigation Bureau is investigating, but do not suspect foul play.
I saw a comment that really put things into an interesting perspective. It said, be 5 minutes late to work, get reprimanded and maybe fired. Die in your cubicle and nobody notices. It's super upsetting. These employees just numbers on a page for executives to try and exploit, figuring out how to get the most juice for the squeeze for as little amount of money as possible to get the most amount of return on it. It's all about profit. And it doesn't matter if an employee dies at their desk, you don't even notice. And the people working around you also won't notice because they're also part of that machine and too wrapped up in their own personal experience with it.
A Wells Fargo employee exclusively spoke with 12 News, but asked not to be recorded or identified out of fear for their job. They say a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building on Tuesday, August 20th. Prudhomme's cubicle was reportedly on the 3rd floor and away from the main aisle. This employee says several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing.
It's so weird to me how if something's off the main aisle, it basically just falls to the fucking back rooms at Wells Fargo, I guess. So if someone's not at like one of the main front and center cubicles, they basically cease to exist, I guess. So for 4 days, people walking down this main aisle never saw her cubicle and noticed the body. It reminds me of in Dexter's Laboratory, the back of the bus where that kid was like a gum monster because he was like, you know, glued down to the seat from chewing gum, and no one goes to the back of the bus. Like, that's kind of what I picture for this Wells Fargo office now. Oh, well, she wasn't in the main aisle, so what were we supposed to do? Go over there and check? We don't do that. We don't go over there. That's a forsaken realm. That's like a fucking different dimension over in that ballpark.
They say while most Wells Fargo employees at this Tempe location work remote, the building has 24/7 security, and someone should have found Prudhomme sooner. The incident left several employees feeling scared and uneasy. This employee wants to see new safety protocols in place, telling me, quote, it's negligence in some part.
So a good chunk of the employees at that Wells Fargo office do work remote, but not all of them. There were other colleagues there, and of course 24/7 security, as well as like custodial staff and everything, so it was not like an empty building or anything. I am extremely curious to see what protocol changes Wells Fargo might make here. I'm expecting some like really cringy dog shit solution from some out-of-touch Silicon Valley type that just tries ridiculous garbage. Like they might integrate like a jingle. If you're feeling kind of dizzy, if your stomach's feeling shitty, go somewhere else. If your heart starts to pound and you might fall down to somewhere else, die off the premises, please. We're begging you. It's bad for our PR, so just die somewhere else, please, instead of in our cubicles. They're not all of a sudden going to start treating their employees like human beings. That's not going to happen. No shot.
Like the little tune he just bought for saying. Dude, that was kind of funny.
All this shit, that's never going to happen. There's a higher likelihood that aliens will come down right now and suck my...
Some of the greatest bands in history didn't fall apart because the music ran out. They fell apart because one person took everything down with them. A conviction, a secret, a spiral that left everyone else holding the wreckage. And in most cases, the other members did nothing wrong. They just had the misfortune of standing next to someone whose off-stage life became impossible to ignore. Today we're looking at 10 bands of the 60s and 70s that were ruined by one disgraced member. Number 10. The Mamas and the Papas, John Phillips. Few bands captured the spirit of the 1960s quite like the Mamas and the Papas. Formed in 1965, the group, John Phillips, Cass Elliot, Denny Doherty, and Michelle Phillips, built a sound that felt like California sunshine itself. Between 1966 and 1968, they charted 6 top 10 singles and became genuine icons of the counterculture era. Their harmonies were unlike anything on the radio. Their presence at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival cemented their place in rock history. John Phillips was the engine of that band. He wrote most of the songs, organized the landmark Monterey Festival, and was the creative force that held the group together until he couldn't hold himself together. By the time the 70s rolled in, Phillips had sunk deep into drug addiction. His behavior became erratic. His relationships deteriorated, and the original lineup dissolved in 1968. Phillips was convicted of drug trafficking in 1981, but the most devastating blow to the band's legacy was his death. In September 2009, his daughter Mackenzie Phillips published her memoir, High on Arrival, in which she revealed that her father had raped her when she was 19 years old, the night before her wedding, and that an incestuous relationship continued for roughly a decade afterward. She described being injected with cocaine by her father and recounted years of trauma rooted in the chaos that surrounded him. John Phillips passed away in 2001, so he was never confronted publicly with those allegations. Some family members disputed Mackenzie's account. Others, including her half-sister Chinna Phillips, said they believed her. Whatever the truth, the story cast a permanent shadow over the band's legacy. Songs that once felt joyful became complicated. The name John Phillips became inseparable from those revelations. The band had already been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. Its place in history seemingly secure, but history has a way of adding new chapters. For a group that had once represented hope and harmony, California Dreams, Open Harmonies, the best of the 60s promise. The ending that came couldn't be Number 9. The Who, Keith Moon. The Who are one of the great rock bands of any era. Pete Townshend's songwriting, Roger Daltrey's vocals, and John Entwistle's bass gave the band its musical foundation.
Shit, it was spelled with a Y, actually.
Its greatest liability. Moon was one of the most naturally gifted drummers in rock. His playing was thunderous, inventive,
What is it?
wholly original, but his offstage behavior was a constant source of damage. He drove a car into the swimming pool of a Holiday Inn. He blew up
I will
toilets with
look at
cherry
it.
bombs. He demolished hotel rooms on a level that other musicians merely aspire to. These stories became so embedded in rock lore that they almost obscured the genuine harm running beneath them.
Is it, actually? Holy fuck, it is 80 degrees outside.
In January 1970, Moon was involved in an incident in Hatfield, England, in which his chauffeur and personal friend, Cornelius Neil Boland, was run over and killed. Moon was trying to escape a confrontation with a group of skinheads who had surrounded his Bentley outside a pub when Boland got out to confront them. Unaware that Boland had ended up beneath the vehicle, Moon drove away. Boland died in hospital that night. Moon was initially charged with his death alongside drunk driving, driving without a license, and driving without insurance. 6 weeks later, the death was ruled an accident and those charges were cleared, though Moon pleaded guilty to the driving offenses. He reportedly carried the weight of Boland's death for the rest of his life. His addiction to alcohol and prescription drugs worsened through the 1970s. He was known to pass out mid-performance, to play erratically, to be physically incapable of completing shows. The band's ability to function as a live act was regularly dependent on whether Moon had slept or eaten. On September 7th, 1978, Keith Moon died of an accidental overdose of heminevrin, a drug prescribed to help him manage alcohol withdrawal. He was 32 years old. He had taken 32 of the tablets, the same number as his age. The Who continued with different drummers, but the version of the band that had existed with Moon was over. Number 8, Sly and the Family Stone. Sly Stone. In the late 1960s, Sly and the Family Stone were doing something nobody else was doing. The band, formed in San Francisco in 1966, was racially integrated and mixed gender at a time when neither of those things was common in popular music. They blended soul, rock, gospel, and psychedelia into something entirely new. Dance to the music, Everyday People, and Thank You, Fallait Me Be Myself Again, were all massive hits. Their set at Woodstock in 1969 was one of the festival's most electrifying performances. And then, almost immediately after that peak, things fell apart. After the band relocated to Los Angeles in late 1969, Sly Stone and several members became heavy users of cocaine and PCP. Sly's behavior changed dramatically. He grew paranoid and withdrawn. In 1970, the band canceled 26 of their 80 scheduled concerts. At one canceled show in Chicago's Grant Park, a riot broke out. Promoters stopped.
I'm gonna say 7 Days to Die is the most immersive sandbox game because you could literally harvest everything.
Bassist Larry Graham, the man who essentially invented the slap bass technique, left the group in 1972. Drummer Greg Errico had already departed. What remained was less a band than a rotating collection of people orbiting an increasingly isolated Sly Stone. The band's final performance at Radio City Music Hall in January 1975 drew barely a fraction of the venue's capacity. They had to pool money just to get home. The group dissolved shortly after. Sly continued recording and performing sporadically under the Family Stone name through the 1980s. Drug addiction led to multiple arrests and periods of homelessness. The band that had once stood for unity, racial, social, musical, had been gutted by one person's inability to stay present for the people around him. Sly Stone died on June 9th, 2025 at the age of 82. The music remains brilliant. The collapse, though, was entirely self-inflicted. The other members of the Family Stone were his siblings, his bandmates, the people who had helped build something genuinely historic, were left to watch it all unravel from the sidelines. Larry Graham went on to form his own successful group. Others found their footing elsewhere, but the band they had all built together, the one that had stood for something bigger than any one of them, was gone long before it was officially over. Number 7, The Glitter Band. By the early 1970s, Gary Glitter was one of the biggest pop stars in Britain. Born Paul Gadd, he reinvented himself as a glam rock icon. Sequin suits, platform boots, 2 drummers, and an arena-sized sound. Songs like Rock and Roll, Parts 1 and 2, and I'm the Leader of the Gang I Am were inescapable on the British charts.
You know what? I'm just going to finish it up.
In 1975, he
Get
and his
some
backing
sleep.
group, the Glitter Band, racked up 18 top 10 UK singles between them. The Glitter Band was a legitimate act in their own right. They had been recruited from the Boston show band, and once they started releasing their own material in 1974, they scored 7 UK top 20 hits independently of Glitter. Songs like Angel Face and Goodbye My Love were theirs alone. They were a real band with real hits, and their identity was built around performing alongside one of Britain's most recognizable pop figures. That association became a permanent problem. Gary Glitter was convicted of possessing child pornography in 1999. He was convicted again in Vietnam in 2006 for a child sexual abuse. In 2015, he was convicted in the United Kingdom of historical sex offenses against children, including the attempted rape of an 8-year-old girl, and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. The Glitter Band had no involvement in any of those crimes, but their name and every record they ever made was tied irrevocably to a man who turned out to be one of Britain's most notorious convicted sex offenders. Radio stations refused to play anything associated with his name. Licensing deals dried up. The cheerful stomp of glam rock hits that had once packed dance halls suddenly felt impossible to separate from who had been at the center of it all. For the surviving members who had done nothing except play music for a man they worked alongside, the consequences were permanent and completely undeserved. They couldn't use the name freely. They couldn't separate their catalog from his. They had been, in every meaningful sense, collateral damage. Number 6, The Beach Boys. Charles Manson connection. Dennis Wilson. The Beach Boys need no introduction. Between 1963 and
I'm gonna have to check it out because that Everwind,
American popular music.
that game kind of.
Studio genius produced Pet Sounds in
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but dude, it could be way better.
Albums ever recorded. The band was beloved, successful, and seemingly immune to the darker currents running through the era. But one of those darker currents came directly into their orbit through drummer Dennis Wilson, and its name was Charles Manson. In 1968, Dennis Wilson began allowing Manson and his followers to live at his home on Sunset Boulevard. By his own account, Manson and his group moved in while Dennis was away, and when he
I'll
returned,
check it out,
they
man.
simply stayed. At various points, as many as 30 members of what
Come
would
on,
become known
goddamn
as
longest
the
15
Manson
seconds of my
family lived in
life.
his house. Manson, who harbored genuine ambitions of becoming a rock star, spent time around Dennis and briefly crossed paths with other music industry figures of the period. Dennis even arranged for the Beach Boys to record one of Manson's songs, Cease to Exist, which appeared on the 1969 album 2020 in an altered version retitled Never Learned Not to Love, with the songwriting credited to Dennis Wilson rather than Manson. In August 1969, members of the Manson family carried out the Tate LaBianca murders in Los Angeles. 7 people were killed. The connection between Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson became public, and the fallout was significant. The Beach Boys were forced to address their association with Manson, and the episode cast a disturbing shadow over a band that had always projected warmth, sunshine, and American innocence. Dennis Wilson's relationship with Manson had been a costly personal mistake, and it introduced one of history's most notorious murderers into the story of one of America's most beloved bands. The other Beach Boys had nothing to do with any of it, but none of that mattered in the public conversation that followed. The association was a stain that comes up whenever their history is told in full. Dennis Wilson died in December 1983, drowning at Marina del Rey. He was 39 years old. Number 5, the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones didn't just survive Brian Jones, they survived him barely. And they were never quite the same band without him, even if they became a bigger one. Jones was a founding member of the Stones. He named the band. In the early years, he was arguably its most musically versatile member, contributing slide guitar, harmonica, and a range of other instruments that gave early Stones records their distinctive texture. But by the mid-1960s, his personal life had descended into chaos. He had fathered multiple children with different women by the time he was 20 years old. His drug use was constant and severe. Arrest for possession came in 1967 and 1968. His deterioration became impossible for the band to work around. He missed recording sessions. His playing declined. By 1969, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards had essentially written him out of the creative process, composing songs together that left Jones with little to contribute. On June 8, 1969, the band informed Jones that he was being removed from the group he had founded. Less than a month later, on July 3, 1969, Brian Jones was found dead at the bottom of his swimming pool at his home in Sussex. He was 27 years old. The coroner's report listed the cause of death as misadventure, noting that his liver and heart were significantly enlarged by years of drug and alcohol abuse. Questions about the circumstances of his death have persisted for decades. The Stones continued and eventually became one of the highest-grossing touring acts in history, but the band that Jones had founded was gone. The chaos of his personal life had eroded whatever creative partnership might have existed between him and his bandmates, and the story of his final year is one of the saddest in rock's early history. He named the band. He brought some of its earliest members together, and then he fell apart so completely that the people he assembled had no choice but to carry on without him. The Stones became legends. Brian Jones became a footnote, and then a mystery, and then a cautionary tale. For 4, the Sex Pistols, Sid Vicious. The Sex Pistols were never meant to be a polished act. Punk was about disruption. But even by the standards of the most confrontational band in Britain, Sid Vicious was a problem. Vicious, born John Simon Ritchie, replaced original bassist Glenn Matlock in early 1977. By most accounts, he couldn't actually play bass. Manager Malcolm McLaren and the band were aware of this, Vicious was chosen largely for his image and his willingness to embody the chaos punk represented. During the recording of Nevermind the Bollocks, the album's bass parts were largely handled by others. What Vicious brought was a talent for self-destruction. His heroin addiction was severe from the beginning of his time with the band. He was hospitalized for hepatitis during recording. He was violent and unpredictable. The band's only U.S. tour in January 1978 collapsed under the weight of his condition and the group's internal tensions. John Lydon quit at the end of the tour. The Sex Pistols were over within a year of their only studio album. Number 3, Derek and the Dominoes, Jim Gordon. Derek and the Dominoes only existed for a few years, but they left one of the most enduring recordings in rock history. Formed in 1970 around Eric Clapton, the band included drummer Jim Gordon, already one of the most sought-after session musicians in Los Angeles. Gordon had played on the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, worked with George Harrison, Delaney and Bonnie, and hundreds of other sessions. In terms of pure musicianship, he was among the best of his generation. His contribution to Derek and the Dominoes went beyond the drums. Gordon is credited as the co-writer of Layla, having composed the song's now famous piano coda, a piece that gave the track its aching, haunting second half. Singer Rita Coolidge, his girlfriend at the time, later stated that the melody originated from a song she and Gordon had written together. She was never given credit. The band dissolved in 1971 after interpersonal tensions made it impossible to continue. Gordon went on to session work through the mid-1970s. But behind the scenes, something was terribly wrong. He had begun hearing voices. His behavior grew increasingly erratic and violent. He assaulted women he was close to. His paranoia deepened. Doctors at the time attributed his deterioration to drug and alcohol abuse, and the underlying illness went undiagnosed for years. On June 3rd, 1983, Gordon went to his mother's home, attacked her with a hammer, and then stabbed her to death. He was 37 years old. Only after his arrest was he properly diagnosed with schizophrenia. His attorneys attempted an insanity defense, but the court did not accept it. He was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 16 years to life in prison. While serving that sentence, he and Clapton were awarded a Grammy for Layla. Gordon was in a cell when it happened. He was denied parole multiple times over the following decades, never attending his own hearings. Jim Gordon died in a California State Medical Facility on March 13, 2023, at the age of 77. He had spent 40 years in prison. Number 2, The Byrds, Gene Clark. The Byrds were one of the foundational American rock bands of the 1960s. Formed in Los Angeles in 1964, they were instrumental in creating the folk rock genre, and their jangly 12-string Rickenbacker sound influenced virtually everything that came after it. Among their original members, Gene Clark was arguably the most gifted songwriter. He wrote many of the band's most memorable early songs, and possessed a voice that sat at the heart of the group's harmony. But Clark suffered from severe anxiety and a debilitating fear of flying that made touring increasingly difficult. He left the group in 1966, citing the stress of the road. That departure set off a cycle. He rejoined, departed again, attempted solo projects, struggled with drug and alcohol dependence, that defined the rest of his career. Clark's problems with substance abuse deepened significantly through the 1970s. His behavior became unpredictable.
Alright, I just gotta wait for these trucks to show up, if they ever do.
And live contexts. Various reunion projects fell apart in part because of his condition. His voice remained remarkable until the end, but consistent output was impossible under the circumstances. He died on May 24th, 1991, at the age of 46, from natural causes connected to years of substance abuse, including a bleeding stomach ulcer. The Byrds had continued in various forms without him, but the original lineup, the one that made Mr. Tambourine Man and established the group's identity, was irreparably fractured from the moment Clark first walked away. Number 1, Badfinger, Stan Polly. Badfinger is one of the most heartbreaking stories in all of popular music. Signed to the Beatles' Apple Records label in 1968, they were often compared to the Fab Four themselves. The harmonies, the melodies, the sheer craft of their songwriting. Paul McCartney wrote and produced their first major hit. George Harrison worked with them. They were, by every metric, one of the most promising British rock acts of the early 1970s. Their problems were not musical. They stemmed from one of the most catastrophic financial betrayals in rock history, carried out largely by their manager, Stan Polly. Polly took control of the band's finances and systematically defrauded them. He collected advance payments from Warner Brothers in the early 1970s, placed the money in escrow accounts he controlled, and refused to release funds to the band or to the label when demanded. Warner Brothers, believing the band was withholding the money, pulled their album headfirst from release in 1975 and severed the contract. The band was left without an album, without money, and without any clear legal recourse against a manager who had hidden or spent what was theirs. On April 24th, 1975, Pete Ham, who had written Without You, one of the best-selling songs of the decade, later covered by Harry Nilsson and Mariah Carey, hanged himself in his garage. He was 27 years old. He left behind a note that expressed his rage toward Polly directly. The remaining members struggled on for years. Ham's songwriting partner, Tom Evans, who had co-written Without You with him, continued to deal with the financial and emotional.
It all depends on how I feel after the stream.
On November 18th, 1983, Evans also took his own life. Two of Badfinger's core members were dead. Their catalog had been suppressed, their legacy buried under wreckage they did nothing to create. Without You went on to become one of the most covered songs in pop history. Millions of people have heard it. Very few know that the men who wrote it died in despair because of a manager who helped himself to everything they earned and was never held accountable for any of it. Every one of these bands had something real. The music was there. The talent was undeniable, but talent doesn't protect a legacy when the people around it, or the people in it, leave behind something too large to look past. Some of these stories involve crime. Some involve addiction. Some involve betrayal. What they all share is the same hard truth. In a band, you share the stage, the record label, and eventually, whether you want to or not, you share the consequences. If you've been with us through this whole list, thank you for watching. These stories deserve to be remembered, even the uncomfortable ones. Maybe especially those. Hit the like button if you found this worth your time, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. There's always more history to uncover.
Why? The woman's body, not yours. And so if a woman is pregnant with a boy, does the woman have a penis? No, because also... No, it's her body, though. It's the woman's body. You are... Okay, it's a good point I got there, eh? It's not the worst point you've made. It's one of the better ones, but it's also fucking stupid. Why? Explain. Because the woman and the child are separate things. Oh, they are? I thought it was part of her body. You just contradicted yourself. I'm calling the baby a parasite. A parasite? Because that's what it is. Really? A parasite, by definition, is something that takes nutrients from its host. What is a baby? Who pays for your college?
Well, if you are an intelligent person, you would use your brain, and I know it's very hard for your prototype to do that, but if it's her body, she would indeed have a penis.
Hello, our society, the society of love, peace, and unity.
Why?
I care deeply for respect.
A society of love, peace, and unity. They actually believe this nonsense.
I don't know what it is about bottom surgery, but it has somehow turned me into the most basic white girl. I don't get it. I wear leggings all the time now, and like now I'm going to Starbucks, like, for fun? What? Why is it that I get girl parts and suddenly I start acting like a basic bitch? Make it make sense.
Imagine how insulting it is to be a woman, because this person believes that if you just chop off a few things, you're more of a woman than you were before. And the also, I think it's majority of women who support this nonsense. All the feminists are the ones who push for this nonsense. Yet this person is saying he feels more of a body and a woman because of the fact that he chopped off his genitals. It's really sad once you think about it.
I did have a medical issue in December or November or something with my cat, so that's a large chunk of my cat. He needed some transitional surgery.
Transitional surgery?
Yeah.
What? To what?
To widen his urethra. He had like crystals in his urethra.
Is that a transitional surgery? You made him sound like he switched sex.
He did, so he was...
He got a vagina?
Yeah. So we neutered him.
Good for him. Her.
I think he, they, or she, they. We haven't really decided yet. So his name is Cooper James, but I changed it to Cooper Jane, so he could have options.
It's not a South Park episode. Before we get back into the video, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so that you guys get notified when one of my videos come out, and let us get back into the video.
Far left is a disease to our political body. They are
Yeah, I thought about playing that.
Function is to disrupt and destroy our existence. They are in constant revolution against all that exists. They want to destroy everything that makes America American. They hate the world that they were born in. They think it deserves to perish. They want total and complete revolution, which for you means death. They will burn down your churches, they will ban your religion, they will take your property, they will confiscate your business, your second home, they'll take your bank account, they will brainwash your children, they'll destroy your traditions and everything you hold sacred, and then if you try to stop them, they will literally kill you. They want this and they admit this publicly. The United States is a body. It has certain members. It has certain organizational systems. Those are the things which has allowed it to continue up until this point. Everything they do is an effort to break that down. They let in as many foreign objects as possible. They sit there and they use an exception to pick away at a rule until nobody knows left from right, up from down, boy from girl. Whatever they can do to disrupt and dismantle and undermine until the members can't communicate, the body breaks down, and eventually it dies. And that is why the right is acting like an immune system, trying to keep the systems, the hierarchy in place.
Let me finish packaging this shit.
And keep the body alive, keep the continuity going. Because they're not so blinded by their resentment to be so arrogant to think that it couldn't be 1,000 times fucking worse.
And everything he said is correct. They are literally parasites. They just take from everything and they destroy everything.
When are we going to finally have a real conversation about the reason why people really don't like black people? When are we really going to talk about how black people are the most compassionate, caring, nurturing, providing, forgiving, sacrificing culture of all? Black people are more resilient, more forgiving, more understanding, and more resilient than any other people. And we are the least violent, the least colonizing, the least destructive, the least invasive out of all. But somehow, everybody's scared of us. Everyone fears black people. But all of you guys kill us. All of you guys exploit us. All of you guys... It doesn't seem like y'all are scared of us. It sounds real fishy. Because y'all don't act like you're afraid. You do all the things that we should be afraid of. But then y'all are afraid of us. Yeah, somebody's fucking capping, bro. We need to wake up. Okay.
If at this point in your life you don't understand why there's a lot of groups of people who don't like black people, then you need to reevaluate your life. It's not the fact that they murder a lot of people. It's not the fact that they are a minority of the population in America and they commit majority of the crimes. It's not the fact that they have degenerate music. It's not any of that. If you're really this confused and you have to make a video about it, then as I've said, you need to go and reevaluate. Get back to the drawing board and do some thinking. It's more than likely going to be the case that you're not going to do any thinking. It's probably because of the fact that that beep that goes on in your house is too loud for you to do any thinking, hence you come to the conclusions that you come to.
Tell me what happened between the gentleman that was wearing the Trump hat. What did she say? I don't even listen. But something related to your Trump hat? Yeah. Trump, that, Trump. Okay. Trump everything. You know, Trump's responsible for that leaf falling off the tree. I was just trying to ignore her, and she's screaming at me, talk to me. Trying to get her. I'm just ignoring her. And so she comes running through the gate, and I saw her running at me. She wasn't coming like, make believe she was a Viet Cong running at me. Okay. So she got to the fence. To cool her off, I threw a little water on her from my thing. She come flying over there, threw the Coke can at me, shoved, gave me a shove. Did she hit you with the can? Yeah. Where did she hit you? In the back of the head.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm proud to be an American, 'cause at least I know I'm free.
Well, what a surprise we have here. A blue-haired gremlin being annoyed at the fact that somebody is wearing a Trump hat and decides to get violent and irate and gets arrested.
Explain to someone what dysphoria feels like. We were talking about how I had it my entire life, but I didn't recognize it, and that when I did recognize that I was trans and I put words to what it was magnified so much. And so the analogy that I used was like there are two pitches that are just like humming in the background, and one of them is just a little bit out of tune from the other one, and so they're just like butting up against each other. I don't think that that's an accurate enough description for what it is, but they seem to understand it. I've heard the one about like there's a rock in your shoe, you can't get it off, and it just like is always there. That's also a good one. I'm just curious what you use, because I feel like one of the things that holds people up from understanding us, if they do want to understand us, is what that physical sensation feels like, and why it gets better when we start to move. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I had to lay back and rub my eyes for a minute.
Confused person.
Do you support Planned Parenthood?
Do I personally? Yes, I do.
So black lives do matter to you guys, though.
Well, of course.
But just not unborn black lives.
No, that's not my decision to make.
It is your decision to make.
Now, when you have a new something developing within a woman's body,
A baby?
fetus, embryo,
No, it's a life.
zygote.
Wait, if a pregnant woman got in a car accident right here and she got hit by a drunk driver, then would it be considered a baby, a life that was taken?
A legal aspect.
Yeah. Abortion is a legal thing that you can do. You don't have to raise your voice at me, by the way. I'm chill with you. Be chill with me, all right?
Okay.
You know that abortions are most commonly caused by being impoverished? And
that's not a cause for abortion.
I find it funny when a black person interviews people like this because they're so woke it confuses them having to go against their programming of a black person is actually going against what we believe in, yet they're the minority and you can see them malfunctioning in real time. It's hilarious.
A woman should not be rejected because of her weight, to which you agree. So okay, I see a girl on a dating app, she says she's perfect, but I will not date her because she's 300 pounds. Is that wrong?
I believe it's wrong.
You believe it's wrong?
Yes.
Why?
I just believe that basing everything off looks is wrong, just for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, I believe that, man.
Would you reject a guy who's 4'11"?
Probably not. I mean, I have dated short kings too.
No, hold on. I'm gonna hold you to this because this is what you wrote. Minimum height of the man you would date. You're 5'1". You wrote 5'7". We have to hold you to that standard.
Okay.
Lies.
You wouldn't.
I can say that it could not be my preference, but I wouldn't just judge someone on the way.
What would actually be wrong with it, though?
I just think it's not right. I just think that it's wrong just to judge someone by the way they look.
But don't you think attraction has to be there in a relationship?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Have you ever rejected a guy at a bar because he just wasn't your type? Like you're like, oh, you're not attractive. Like, no, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're saying that we are more.
So you can't reject a woman because of her weight, but you can reject men because of their height, something that's out of their control. The weight, it's within your control, but don't reject them because of something they can control.
Yes, we did. We stopped people from hitting you.
Dude, I was standing there for an hour.
We didn't help you.
You would have been attacked. Started attacking me.
We told them to stop.
I didn't do anything.
But you're like trying to play victim so hard when we were losing.
Okay, so I have all this on camera. It's fine. And because we're Minneapolis, you can't press charges against any of these people either. Anyways, so yeah, there we go. There we go, guys. There we go. Minneapolis! Incredible. What am I going to do?
I really don't understand why TPSCA would send her out with no security and no protection. And I'm even saying that she shouldn't even be out here because there's no way she can protect herself. Although it was the case that these people are disgusting individuals, the fact that there was a whole mob of you attacking one woman is the most disgusting thing ever. They're cowardly people, and these people should be held accountable for their disgusting behavior. But of course, because of their part of the woke mob, people are not going to say anything. People are not going to say what they were doing is wrong, when this is clearly assault and they should be held accountable for their behavior.
This is Emma, Angry Daughter, also known as Pedro Cisco. And I was the girl that literally just got fucking assaulted by a fucking piece of shit turning point bitch. And first of all, her fucking ID is expired. 2023 is when it expired. And second of all, I got released. They're gonna like do investigation and all that for video, but I need everybody to send their video that they got of her assaulting me first. And then second of all, my boyfriend that was protecting me, Lorenzo Garcia, the one that was talking about his dad, yeah, they fucking took him for protecting me. I need everybody to get the word out to go to Hennepin County Jail and help him get out because he was assaulted and unlawfully arrested for no reason for protecting his girlfriend. Please send videos. Please get the word out.
Yeah, we watched the video, and you being assaulted was not the case. You are the one doing the assaulting, and then people try to defend themselves. And of course, like the lunatics you are, you come online saying you're the one who was assaulted when you were caught in 4K. We all saw what happened. You are the one assaulting someone. There was a lot of you and probably 2 or 3 of the other side, and you guys were assaulting them. But yeah, you're the victim in this situation.
I'm an American, and I'm fucking glad that we are losing this war. I'm fucking glad because we don't deserve.
All right, give me a second.
Our government doesn't deserve to win this war. What our government is doing to people overseas is a war crime, and I hope we fucking lose. And believe me when I tell you, fellow Americans, that despite our Western media, we are certainly not winning. I hope we fucking lose. I hope we lose so badly, the United States can't pull this shit again.
So any peace deal between Iran and the United States just failed thanks to Donald Trump. Personally, I can't wait until he's fucking dead.
Oh yes, I'm threatening him with my shampoo bottles. Maybe if I shove one down his fucking throat.
I swear to God, when that motherfucker dies, I'm gonna take the fattest shit I've ever created, and I'm gonna hover over his fucking grave and plant it right on it.
Of course you'd be happy that you're losing a war because you guys do not have any concept of what preservation is. You will forego your whole generation just so that you can feel good for a moment. You don't know what preservation is, so yeah, there shouldn't be any surprise here that you're happy that people are about to end your whole country apparently. You guys are the epitome of what it means to end everything because of your feelings.
Dana is David, and he is a crossdresser.
It certainly has been something that's been there for most of my life, I guess. It is certainly addictive. Whether it makes an addiction, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't want to live without it.
I would like the ABCD community to help explain to me what the difference between this guy, David, or whatever he calls himself, and one of your ABCD community members who claims that they are a woman, even though they're actually a man. I would like for you guys to give me the distinction between these two. Is it just them claiming that they are and that makes them that thing, or what is it?
Fat people don't owe you anything, but the world owes fat people accessibility.
Of course you guys would want more things. Isn't it obvious? You guys want everything, quite literally everything.
Ollie could only eat a tiny bit of food this morning. 30 fried eggs, 2 solid pounds of grilled sausage, plus 15 thick slices of bread. This tiny little bit of food was her entire appetizer before the official breakfast. She grabbed the sausages and bread with her bare hands and forcefully shoved them straight into her mouth. Feeling that the act of chewing was just a waste of time, she threw her head back and chugged 2 whole liters of milk, using the liquid to flush the dry food right into her stomach.
in just 3 short minutes. She had completely cleared this massive plate of food. But this tiny portion couldn't fill Dolly up at all. Just to eat a little more comfortably, she collapsed her 700-pound body onto the sofa. Her sister immediately brought over a fresh breakfast. Dolly took the plate and continued her frantic
Guys, I gotta
swallowing
take a
while
quick
she
break for a
endlessly shoved
while.
food down her throat.
I'll be back
Her
in a
mother was
little
in the
bit.
kitchen cooking up brand new dishes. Dolly scraped the plate clean in just 2 or 3 bites, right as her sister took away the empty plate.